4 was agony for Italian fans, beaten on penalties, but at least they reached the final. 2 years later, the bars were packed, the tension mounted, as Arrigo Sacchi's team struggled at Euro '96. Hearts skipped a beat when Gianfranco Zola missed a penalty against Germany. Unbelievably, Italy were going out in the first round. And as the shock turned to anger, everyone knew who to blame.
Saki. He will be blamed. I think he will get sacked. Actually, we hope so.
Sacchi, he's a dead man. I don't think he can even go back to it.
Vicious criticism from the Italian media. He would lead his country into the qualifying campaign for '98 and begin the quest for the Holy Grail last in Italian hands 16 years earlier. With a striking hitman Paolo Rossi, Enzo Bearzot inspired an experienced side to a memorable win in Spain, capped by a 3-1 victory over West Germany in the final. It's a proud record, winners twice in the 30s, semi-finalists twice, beaten finalists in '94. It's a tradition every coach is expected to maintain. In the autumn of '96, Saki was in charge but under pressure. His team selection baffled observers. Italy began with a 3-1 win in Moldova, but then came a turgid 1-0 win over Georgia. Even the thick-skinned Saki knew his time was up. To the relief of a nation, he quit. Into the football furnace came one of Italian football's most respected figures, Cesare Maldini, a man with the pedigree for the job. A former national team captain, Maldini led AC Milan to 4 league titles and their first European Cup triumph at Wembley in 1963. As a coach, he had masterminded a hat-trick of titles for Italy's under-21 side during the '90s. Maldini took charge with Italy second in Group 2. They'd won both their matches, but England had 9 points from 9. And Maldini's first challenge? Away to England at Wembley Stadium. The test couldn't have been much tougher, nor the Italian mood much brighter. A new era under a new and respected coach was beginning. An air of relaxed optimism was there for all to see on the flight from Rome to London. Maldini, not surprisingly, had opted for experienced performance. For many of them, this was a chance to make up for their English disappointment less than a year earlier. In London's Little Italy, the bunting was out.
I think Italy and England should go both.
England had never lost a World Cup qualifier at Wembley Stadium. Gianfranco Zola's first half goal changed all that. For the next 70 minutes, England's attack was stifled and suffocated by a classic Italian job. Maldini's reign was off to the most auspicious of starts. More importantly, Italy were now clear favourites to beat Glenn Hoddle's side to the automatic qualification place. And the big irony that night was that England had been undone by a player gracing their very own Premier League. 2 months earlier, Gianfranco Zola had become the latest addition to the foreign legion of stars at Chelsea, London's swinging, ambitious club, coached by the charismatic Ruud Gullit. Zola's £4 million purchase was a massive coup. The Sicilian's impish talent had been central to the emergence of Parma, a provincial club transformed into UEFA Cup winners. And Zola quickly thrived on his English challenge, taking his new team to new levels. He was Footballer of the Year. Chelsea won the FA Cup. A month after their memorable win in England, Italy set about building on their billing as clear group favourites. At home to the minnows of Moldova, 3 points were gained comfortably. Zola continued to light the spark in attack. Italy were able to indulge themselves, and there was a fitting twist to the victory. On the night when Cesare Maldini was overseeing his first World Cup tie in Italy, his son, Paulo Maldini, joined the list of scorers. But then life has always come easily to Maldini Jr. European Player of the Year, Italian Player of the Year, a World Cup finalist, a European Cup and League title winner, numerous times over with Milan. Painfully good-looking, he's only 29 years of age, yet he's closing in on 100 caps for his country. Defending is Maldini's first job, and one few do better. A left-back or stopper, he's been one of the few world-class Italians of the last decade. Now that he's the most experienced player, Paulo Maldini is Italy's standard-bearer, whether or not his father does happen to be picking the team.
It's definitely a weird feeling, very peculiar. Anyway, the two of us are here because of our professional careers. Therefore, we've nothing to be ashamed of.
Of 29 players used by Italy in their 10 qualifying games, Paulo Maldini was the only ever present. And during a campaign in which Italy's strikers failed to impress, Maldini Jr. was joint second in the scoring charts. He scored again in a 3-0 win over Poland. But either side of that, Italy could only manage 0-0 draws in Poland and Georgia. Their good work at Wembley had been undone. England had won all their away games. To make it to France direct, Italy would have to win their final game at home to England. Rome's Olympic Stadium was the venue. Italy had won all 15 of their previous World Cup ties there. When Christian Vieri headed inches wide in the final minute, that record had been ended. England had looked the better side. Maldini's cautious tactics away from home had backfired. Italy's penance was a two-leg playoff, the first match away in snowbound, sub-zero Moscow against Russia, with their own recent World Cup tradition to maintain. Italy's highly paid stars would really have to earn their money. This time Maldini opted for a real strongman attack, suited to the heavy pitch, Fabrizio Ravanelli and Christian Vieri, and it was Vieri who scored a crucial away goal. Italy's first ever in Russia. The home side equalised, but they couldn't score in the return game, won 1-0 by Italy. Through to another World Cup finals, undistinguished at times, but still unbeaten on the way. But Maldini has so much talent available. Pierluigi Casaraghi, the match winner at home to Russia, will be another key figure.
We were runners-up in the last World Cup, and to improve on that would mean winning it. I don't know whether this would be possible, but I think ending amongst the first four would already be a very good result. And then, it would be too good to be true if we won it.
And even if Italy weren't impressive in qualifying, be warned, only rarely do the Azzurri fail to perform in a World Cup finals.